All right, it's football, so well, almost football season here, but we got to get our definite scoop of the CIAA here. So bringing in the best of the best, of course, I'm talking about the head coach and athletic director of the St. Aug Falcons, David Bowser here. Hey, let's just jump right into this thing. Last year, a lot of learning. If you're not winning, you're learning.
Yes.
A lot of learning. But you learned a lot, and especially that last game, came away with that W over Shaw. How big was that to end the season on, and how much of a springboard was that for you into this offseason, Coach?
The win over Shaw was major because, one, that's your rival. Two, that was a great program that's coached by a great coach. Adrian does a great job there. So our kids, they understood the magnitude of that week, and I was just proud of them because of the fact that we prepared well. The coaches, the staff did a great job, and the players executed the game plan for us to get that win.
Let's talk about getting into this season here. Last season was, you had the COVID year, and then it was just a lot of preparing. You finally hit the field, but not really. I mean, it was a lot of stipulations, a lot of hold you back. How nice is it to finally get what you would hope would be, here we're going to a full regular, if you will, off season in of football?
Oh, it was great. And it mainly goes back to the fact that we had winter workouts, then we had spring practice. So we finally had those developmental phases, and then we've had summer workouts, and we've had guys able to come to campus and work out during the summer. So that's been big. And reporting to camp now, we have a foundation. The other good thing is having game film from a year ago to teach with. We also have film from the spring that we can teach with. So now you're able to go and do installs, and the guys can see themselves and learn from it. So that's been great.
This year, you've got a lot of young guys, but you got young guys with experience, if you will. So how nice is it to have that core group? Not seniors, a lot of sophomores on that squad, but experienced sophomores that have been through it. How nice is it to have that crew to hit the field this year?
Well, you know, the one thing you can't replace is game experience. So that makes it great that these guys have been through the battles. They understand what college football is like now. And I tell people, if college game experience wasn't important, then why do the big schools allow guys to come back for 5th and 6th years? Because game experience matters.
It does. You got creative, very creative a couple of times. I mean, so creative. I walked up one day and I'm looking under center. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a wide receiver out there. So we know you can come up with the most creative thing, but Perkins and Brewington, I want to say, the two guys that I've looked at on that depth chart. Let me ask you about each individual one and who's stepping forward. Have you made a decision on who's there? Well, are they still fighting for it?
I'll say, based on how we finished last season, Perkins will be the starter going into camp. But Brewington brings just as much to the table, and I think a year under his belt has allowed me to see that his skill set, what Coach Barber and Coach Hobbs are able to do with him is a little bit different than what we do with Chris, and I think that's going to give people problems. But the one that's going to be I just don't know how to describe it, but we got a lefty named Clifton who came and transferred in this spring. And when Kobe first got out there, you could see the rust. But I think that as we progressed and stretched out spring practice, we got 3 solid quarterbacks. But definitely right now, you're absolutely right. Brewington and Perkins are the guys right now.
And the guys they're throwing to Proctor and Pitts, I want to say out there. We're no subbing in for quarterback this year, right?
No. We're comfortable with that. And we also signed 3 high school quarterbacks, so we've got a full quarterback room now.
We'll talk about that one in just a little bit there. But they got guys to throw to. Guys that not just fast, but know where to get to, when to get to. And if it's 5 and out, they're going 5, making that hard right and out. Guys that have been through the system.
Yes, and the thing with Proctor is he played quarterback in high school. And then, of course, as you know, he had to play quarterback for us a couple of times last year. But he understands what those guys are looking for. He has a great knack for getting open. Leon Goldsboro and Jalen Searmans are 2 of our tight ends that had a great spring. So that's going to give us some tight ends that can be on the field who not only can they block, but they can catch and run with the ball. So Proctor is going to make some things. We transitioned Chris Pitts over to defensive back. He's starting for us at corner now. So you kind of take it, and these are the things that when you have spring, you look at things. So we asked Chris, beginning the spring practice, said, look, with your skill set, try DB. And after about 3 practices, it was a no-brainer that he's a big-time corner. And so
sometimes all guys need is an opportunity. You'd be surprised with it there, actually. And let's talk about that defense. Now we transitioned over to it. We'll start up with the guys in the trenches up front. The name that keeps coming to mind, Marcus Davis. I mean, just the guy you got a game plan for, the guy that you need to know, you better know where he is each and every time. How key is he going to be to anchoring those guys up front?
Well, Marcus is the key because of the fact he has the experience, the leadership, and the maturity. So if you said do you have an older guy on the team that's got the years of college experience and game experience? That'd be Marcus Davis. So he's able to navigate the guys through things. They trust him. And then right next to him is a guy that he's really close with, and they have a great relationship, and that's Thomas Washington. Right. So those two interior guys are going to be outstanding. We're going to be young on the ends, because that's the position that we had to go and get help. We didn't really have problems in the middle last year. Thomas and Marcus did an outstanding job. Their backups, Pope and Lowe, did a good job coming in for them, but we had to get better at the ends, and so I'm pleased with what we have coming in at those defensive ends.
Kind of already hit on one guy in the secondary back there that you transitioned over from wide receiver, but secondary, you got some guys in this league that can put the football up. Who am I going to be over there out at the George Williams Complex, watch him snatch it out of the air?
Yeah, it's going to definitely be Jonathan Goldsboro. Jaron Hinton, he ceases to amaze me. Jaron had to miss this past spring with a shoulder injury, but we're getting him back right. Miss Mijan Knight has done an outstanding job of getting him back healthy. But Jaron's a special player. And I think that people are going to be able to see that this year, now that he has a year underneath his belt. Pitts is going to do an outstanding job at corner. We got Brendan Tibbs, who was a backup last year, and he's going to start fall camp at the other corner. And the surprise is going to be Juwan Manning, a local kid from the area. Juwan is going to be our starting free safety. And another one, he was a running back for us, but we moved him over to free safety this spring, and he took the job.
Last year we talked about your U file. Is it taking players from one side to the other, or was that in your U file back then, from being able to identify talent to put around? Because the second guy you brought up here now.
Yeah, so what you got to do is you got to go out and recruit kids that play both sides of the ball or have the ability to play both sides of the ball. Because one thing I know is this: if I think you're talented and you're at best a fourth string running back, but I'm looking at you and we know as a staff that you could go over to defense and possibly be in the two deep, then we got to move you over there, because what we're telling them is you want to get on the field. I understand you want to run the ball, so then go take the ball. Go take it, and then you can run with it. So it's one of those things, because Jaron started out as a wide receiver his freshman year, and that lasted for about 3 days. And I kept watching him, like, man, you're aggressive, you're physical. And we moved him over to defense, and he took the starting job at the strong safety.
Best 11 on the field there. That's what they always say, and obviously what you're doing over there. Let's back this up just a little bit. I'm going to embarrass him just a little bit here. Marcus Davis is on this, but what is it, the Good Hands team?
Yes, sir.
Nominated for it. They nominate a bunch of players for it, and Davis is. He's the guy that you do stories on and you read about, and then I finally realized that I just wasted 4 years of college. Consider what he did. He's already graduated.
Yes, sir.
Going for his master's now?
Yes, he's going to be in graduate school this fall with us.
And not just getting by on grades either.
Oh, no, he graduated summa cum laude.
Say that again.
Summa cum laude.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Made the All-State team. How nice is, and this is the part that I'm going to see him get embarrassed here. So turn the lights on. We'll see just how red we can make him here. This man made it as well on there. They offered that to what, a handful of coaches? They got like maybe 50 players, but the list for the coaches is like that, and you're on it.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on that one. That is huge.
Thank you.
How'd you find out? What's it about?
We were at the media day, and Mr. Jeffries came up to me, and he set it up real nice, because he showed me Marcus's name, and I was all excited. And then he said, but wait till you see this. So I was like, well, we had 2 guys nominated?
Sure.
And he went down to the bottom, and I saw that I was one of 7 coaches in all divisions to be nominated, and it was humbling, because really at the end of the day, we do things, and if your motives are pure, which mine are always just to be able to help others, you don't really expect to get the credit for it that way. I appreciate Mr. Jeffries nominating me for it. I appreciate Saint Augustine's for giving me the opportunity, but I'll be honest with you, the whole part about wanting to serve others, that just came from Gladys and Terry Bowser. I was just raised to understand that if you care for others, everything will be okay. So I give my parents credit for that.
What is it this year that you would like to see this team take the next step on? Because you had the lead in quite a few of these games and just weren't able to take it. I mean, you were able to take it 2 squads, but you couldn't finish squads off there. What would you like to see them do to take the next step this year?
I think the biggest thing that we're going to emphasize to the guys is that we got to focus in on being complete, and being complete from beginning to end, being able to stay focused. I think another plus is now we're going to be able to have depth, because we were able to jump on people early, but we weren't subbing like we needed to. And so when other teams could run another 3 or 4 D linemen at our offensive line, it was giving us problems. So we got to get to the point where competition makes us better. We've got to stay consistent throughout. So we've really focused in on just coming into camp, and we're going to practice a little bit different. We practice different in the spring and really liked it, so we're going to keep that philosophy. And what that was is the teaching is going to be emphasized more. Before, a lot of times we were trying to get tough that first year. We were trying to get them tough because you didn't know what they could do. But this past spring, we spent as much time in the film room. We spent as much time doing walkthroughs. So we're going to keep that philosophy this fall camp.
You're not hiding from anybody. I mean, Tusculum, followed up by Limestone, and then right into Virginia State, and then fourth in there. We'll just let that one go. We'll talk about that one later. But coming right out of the chute, what would you like to see after those first three?
The first three are going to be a situation of finding our depth. That's going to be the biggest thing. If we can identify who our top three backs are, I'll be happy at that point. If we can get the guys that I think Booker Peak, who will be coming back off an injury, will add some depth to the secondary. Linebacking core is going to be really young, but they're talented. Lee Sales will lead the group, but we've got a couple of freshmen who are some big, strong, fast linebackers that I think are going to bring some things to the table. So I want to see after those first three games depth, but I want to go on record and tell everybody this without a shadow of a doubt. Us playing Virginia State, Bowie State, and Virginia Union in those three crossover games, if anybody asks who has the toughest CIAA schedule this year, I'm standing on the table and say it's us.
That's a gauntlet right there. I know I've had a lot of people call about Bowie State losing a coach, but what they say, tradition doesn't graduate. So
no, sir.
You know, that's it. And speaking of setting a tone, and I know that they're not here to help the team, but it definitely is a feather in the cap of the program here.
Yes.
You've got not one, but two guys going on to play professional football. I want to say Akil Greer was one of them. Jalen Jones is a name that is also out there playing for the Arkansas Attack as well. What does that say about the program, that it's not just playing ball here and, hey, that's it after, 4 seasons going on, but it's developing that kind of talent to be able to have that shot at the next level?
First of all, I'll give Jalen Jones credit because I didn't get to coach him. He was done with the previous staff, but he was still around, but had already graduated, which is the number one thing. He handled his business in the classroom, so he had the opportunity to work towards going professional. Akil Greer, I'm so proud of him because he came back, finished school. Even though he had some nagging injuries throughout the fall, every day he came to work. He did what he had to do to get better. So when Coach Wilson called about him and asked about him, it was like, it's a no-brainer. I said, number one, he's finished school, so he deserves the opportunity. And number two is he has the talent. So he's done everything. He and Jalen Jones are great ambassadors and examples of what it's like to go to school, do what you're there for first, which is to get your education. And then number two, now that because there's more leagues out there that give you opportunities to excel, now you go explore that while you're still young, and then you can't say you have any regrets.
I don't ask you to put a number on it. Not going to ask you to do that, but what would you like to look back on this year and say, you know what, I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. I'm proud of that. Doesn't have to be a record, but what would you look back on?
It's simple. When we have our first team meeting, I just want us to be a better football team in November than we were in August. And that's the key. When you're making progress, then you let good things take care of themselves.